China's third plenum is coming up. Now, this big symbolic meeting of the Communist Party's top leadership happens once every 10 years, roughly speaking. And when it does, we usually expect to see some big clues about the direction of reform over the coming few years. For us, the big thing to watch at the third plenum is going to be Xi Jinping, China's president and party secretary. What kind of leader is he? Now, he's following in the footsteps of Jiang Zemin, Deng Xiaoping, who have made big entrances at the third plenum and told the world that they're in charge and they've got the power and the authority to push through big reforms. Now, the last party secretary, Hu Jintao, his third plenum was a bit of a muted affair. He was basically overshadowed by a space launch, and he began by delivering a work report in which he invited his peers to criticize, basically, his efforts. That set the tone for a decade of consensus and of getting very little done. So what we want to see is for Xi Jinping to emerge as a strong leader with the authority to make the changes China needs to continue to grow and develop wealth, health, and happiness for its people. There are many ideas flying around about what kind of reforms are expected, everything from scrapping the one-child policy to liberalising the financial system. Now, really, the key question is not what's good for China, but what's politically possible. A good rule of thumb for the third plenum is that the bigger the losers, the harder the reform will be to push through. An example is the financial system. Now, liberalising interest rates, liberalising the exchange rate, those things are going to be relatively uncontroversial, if a little bit complicated to do, because everyone is basically in agreement that those will bring economic gains for the system. State-owned enterprises are another big area for potential reform. These companies, and there are more than 100,000 of them in total, are basically the vampire squid of China's economy, sucking up capital and giving very little back. But reforming them is going to be very difficult because their leaders are, in many cases, politicians, high-ranking politicians, and pushing those reforms through is going to take a lot of political support, which the leaders may not yet have in quantities enough to force through these changes. There's also the category of reforms that are just too complicated to announce much detail at this stage. One example is land reforms, letting rural dwellers sell the land they currently live on and use the proceeds to trade their lives in for new urban lifestyle, something that the leadership says it badly wants.